Welcome back, friends. I came to the Overland Expo to look at vehicles and gear, but the most important thing I found here had nothing to do with any of it. The Overland Expo is full of incredible rigs, rooftop tents, suspension systems, and just about every piece of gear you can imagine.
You go, Terrence. Very much. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thousands of people gathered here this weekend chasing adventure. Somewhere, in the middle of it all, I found myself sitting in a storytelling class with Clay Croft from Overland. He's been an influence on me since my early days of overlanding, so I listened.
My name is Clay. I am part of Expedition Overland, the founder of Expedition Overland, and I've been telling stories for a little while now. I grew up in a storytelling family. Grew up with a bunch of cowboys that I go out and hang out with on the summers with my aunts and my uncles, and I would listen to my aunts and my uncles tell stories, and they were just so dang good at it. And I remember just being captivated by their lifestyle and the things of the past and learning so much by good storytelling. So that's what probably kicked off my love of storytelling because it made an impact on me when I was a kid. And then as I got older, came into the idea that maybe I wanted to tell stories professionally and in some capacity. So I started off in photography and started learning how to frame the camera and all that. And then probably the thing that taught me the most about storytelling right off the bat early is I got roped into this TV series that went on a little channel called RFD TV. Yeah, RFD TV. And it was a show called R5 Sons Alaska. And it was a show about 5 boys that ran the oldest hunting lodge in remote Alaska. So somehow I landed this gig, and I went out there, and a group of us found out that the producers, the directors, and the people that hired us had no idea what they were doing. So when we got there, they were like, well, you guys are the camera guys. You guys are out in the field. You guys probably, how about you guys pretty much run with this? So we got handed this TV show in the middle of Alaska, and we had to figure it out. And of course, we're all young, and our livelihoods depended on this. We spent 7 or 8 weeks, I almost said 6 or 7. 7 or 8 weeks out there in the middle of nowhere learning how to make TV shows. And it was the best thing ever. We were riding in airplanes, flying in helicopters, shooting stories off of horses, and it turned into the best boot camp I could possibly have ever had to learn how to tell a story. A show of hands, who knows Warren Miller? Now, Warren Miller made amazing ski films for years, and he's really I guess you could say the godfather of adventure filmmaking around specific sports. So he started shooting ski films in the 50s and made over 70 films in his life by the time that I had met him. All these people were asking him those types of questions. Then he got to me, and I said, how'd you get Nissan to support you? How do you tell all these stories? And then eventually I was able to ask him one last question. I said, you've told over 70 stories, made over 70 movies at this time in your life. What's the number one thing that you would give me as a young filmmaker on how to go tell a story? And this unlocked something for me. He said, well, Clay, no one wants the whole trip. Right? I saw some heads go, huh? My head did that too. Because I've been built on authenticity, everything has to be accurate, blah, blah, blah. Which is all good things. But what it told me and what it taught me right there, and it took me 6 months to really come to resolution with this. What it was that people sit down to watch and be told a story. So tell them one. They don't care about the whole truth. They just want a good story. Now, how far you take that is up to you, right? There's fiction movies, they're completely made up, and we love to go sit there. And then there's documentaries that are like 100% to the T, linear path. And most of those aren't very good, frankly. How many here are living a life that looks just like a movie? I haven't seen it yet. So don't be afraid. Rule number one, don't be afraid to not have to tell the whole truth. Don't let that sit with you for a while. It's not a dishonesty thing, it's a storytelling thing. A lot of us have imposter syndrome. We say, why would anybody want to hear my story? Why do I have anything to offer? You have something to offer. No one has lived your life. No one has gone through what you've gone through and felt the things and learned the things that you have. And if anybody who has a hint of humility in their life knows that you can learn something from someone else. Anybody can learn something from someone else. You are that someone else. Tell them what you know. And the audience will respond. The audience will say, yeah, I like what you're saying. I want more of this or more of that. And your audience will respond and say, I'm not interested in that. So you stop telling them that and you try something else. But keep your voice at this place that you know it's important. It's always valuable. If it's not landing well, you just may need to change the tactic in what you're using to tell it. Okay? It may come down to you don't tell it, someone else does. But your story is still being told. Okay? All right. That's hitting it hard right there. Start telling it now. Imperfect but honest. We have Shelley is the same. Start somewhere. Just start.
The information he shared really stuck with me, and it made me realize maybe the story isn't always about the gear. Not long after that, I came across a small class on mindfulness.
So meditation, we talk about meditation, we think usually we're sitting on a cushion, we're in an ashram somewhere at the top of a mountain someplace, like meditating really, carefully and intentfully. I kind of liken that to going to the gym. That's the more formal practice. And then there's like a mindfulness practice, which is just kind of an awareness of what's happening. So what you're describing, noticing bugs, noticing the winds, like being present, that's a little bit more towards what I would say would be like the mindfulness practice that I teach. It's based on a lineage called insight meditation. So the idea behind it is really just arriving to what's already happening. A lot of people sometimes think meditation is, I got to clear my mind of all the thoughts that I have, and I need to quiet a busy mind, or I need to be really still and peaceful and calm. And meditation actually, mindfulness practice in this way, it's actually often not that at all. So my name's Nick Whitaker. My wife over here, Bex. We've been traveling and camping on and off for about, 13 years throughout the Southwest? Give or take?
Short sprints.
Yeah, short sprints. We're not doing multi-month long trips like some of us are doing. But, my entire life have had an affinity with nature. I grew up in the country. I grew up in the middle of cornfields in central Pennsylvania. My refuge was going out into nature. So if I had hard feelings or if I was stressed in some kind of way, I would usually go hiking. I would usually go out into nature to actually be connected with the environment. And I found that to be a really soothing way of dealing with my nervous system. It wasn't until decades later that I actually picked up mindfulness practice and meditation practice. And then years and years into that practice, I realized that I could combine the two of these things. So working with a few different practitioners, including this guy, Mark Coleman, I was speaking with you a little bit about. He has an organization called Awake in the Wild. And it's a training program for mindfulness in nature specifically. And it combines a lot of different lineages together. But what I think it does is a really beautiful job of simplifying and making it just more accessible for folks, regardless of whatever their experience level is or whatever their interest level is. Now, it might just be like, oh wait, we're just looking at the ground here. But what is it that we're actually noticing? There's subtlety in the vegetation, there's wind blowing very subtly. You might see insects. There's a whole microcosm and a whole ecosystem that's happening right below our feet right here. So again, as we're looking at this small patch of land, this little bit of nature, even though it's tiny and it's in the midst of this giant parking lot, amidst all of this noise and all this cacophony of humanity, we can attune ourselves to the subtlety of the natural world. So some of the practices that we do in nature is we might spend 15 or 20 minutes or a half hour just observing our mind mingling with the earth, mingling with the ground and the vegetation. And we might take that and then expand that in contrast by looking up at the sky. And if you're interested in playing with this a little bit, maybe I invite you into playing with that kind of contrast. So maybe for a few moments, just looking at this ecosystem in this world, and then taking your attention upwards and looking into the sky, and just noticing the difference in the feeling in your experience between the sense of scale, between the minutia of the earth and the plants and the vastness of the sky.
Sitting there, with engines running nearby and people moving past, we practiced something simple. Just breathing and paying attention to the moment. And it made me realize something else. Quiet isn't always a place you drive to. Sometimes it's something you carry with you.
The far off sounds of vehicles, the city. Just allowing all of it to wash over your experience, almost like waves crashing against the shore of your awareness.
Just across the street from the expo, there's a small pond under the trees. While thousands of people talk about adventure at the expo, the ducks glide across the water like nothing else exists. No gear displays, no engines, no crowds. Just wind in the leaves and water moving slowly past. It's hard not to imagine what this place looked like before the cities arrived. Marshes stretching towards the ocean, birds filling the sky, and quiet water moving through the grass. Just a few minutes from here, thousands of people gathered this weekend to talk about adventure. But long before trucks and gear displays, the land around the expo probably looked a lot like this. Sometimes the quiet we're looking for is closer than we think. Maybe adventure isn't always about going further. Sometimes it's just about slowing down and letting the noise wear off.